You know what I mean? Like, how you gonna cut the big dog out of heat? You know what I'm saying? He doesn't condone this. And when you get back into it and actually learn it, because for one, I tell people, you're not gonna go to church, at least read the Bible. Read that Bible.
Put it in your spirit.
Yes. Because when you read it and you understand it, I love church because I learn. Mm-hmm. Our pastor, he teaches, you know, and that helps me understand more. So when I go home every day, every morning, I read my Bible and I pray, I have a better understanding because I'm learning. So that's why I love it. If you don't want to go to church, it's the blueprint to life, whether you want to believe it or not. And also, my ignorance was, oh, the Bible was written during a certain time, or they put this in the Bible, they put that in the Bible. Read it for yourself. Do some research. You know, find out for yourself. And I've been so mad. I know I shouldn't be mad at myself, but sometimes I get mad at myself for being so ignorant for so long. And it's like, I could have been at peace this whole time.
You know, it's funny when you say, I get mad at myself sometimes and I feel bad. I used to have that issue. I used to feel like, dang, I should have did X, Y, Z, and then I could have. But at the same time, that goes back to regret, which is a form of unforgiveness. When you start realizing that you needed to have gone through and done what you did so that what you're doing now is more profound. It is more intense. It is something that sticks and it drives deeper or what have you, because had you not done it back then, you would not see the glory in it now.
That's true.
I think that if you don't mess up, you can't see the glory in when it's fixed, right?
Yeah.
So if we never had anything happen ever, how would we know our growth?
What would
how
the testimony be?
What would it be without a test?
Right.
And so don't feel bad. Now, if it is to the magnitude where you feel so bad to where it weighs on you, that's something you need to go back and address. I was talking earlier about people who want to address things with you. That might be something you need to ride back. And I think that goes back to grace, because people don't just do things for no reason. Like, you may not have done anything to them and you may not have deserved what they did, but they didn't do what they did for something happened, whether they were 3, 13, 30, 33, 333. But it don't matter.
Something happened at some time.
Something happened. And if people would be more apt to understanding something happened to make this person this way, they'd be less apt to carry what the person did to them. You know what I mean? So it's the biggest thing. Maybe you should call it grace and forgiveness, because that's the biggest thing. But love language is big too. Yeah. And that's a parallel that people misconstrue. Like, a person can love a person deeply. Yes. I'm talking about with every pit of their soul. But if they're not loving the person in the way that person feels love is, it'll never be seen. And I think people miss that boat of, you don't love me. Well, that person may very well love you, but they may not be able to love you the way you want them to. And so when you are compartmentalizing these things on what hurt, what was wrong, what didn't work, also compartmentalize, well, maybe this was their way to show love and I missed it, and that's what created the problem. Because sometimes we can create our own, the person was wrong, but what happened to get them there? Yeah. And it could be something as simple as you missed this, or you didn't say this, or you did this, or it could be small that could, listen, they remember what Smokey Bear said, you can prevent a little bit of match can burn down a whole forest. So a little bitty remark can create a huge...
Yeah. Because you don't know how that triggers a person. Right. You don't know what that takes them to. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't understand, like... Triggers.
Oh, that's powerful. We might have to do a whole nother episode on triggers.
Because triggers...
take you back.
It's holding that 100 things somebody did to you that you still holding on to your pocket. Somebody come bump you. Oof. You popping it off. And it's just like, wait, what happened? Like, you know what I mean? Ooh, you got to give it to God.
You got to, and that's why it's important to not carry. Because think about when you try to get all the grocery bags out the car at one time, and you live on the 3rd floor, and you don't want to take an extra trip. So now you struggling coming up the steps, losing blood flow to your fingers. You got bags everywhere.
Oh, yes.
When you really could have just took 2 trips.
But you know what? They don't want to do the work. You don't want to walk up the stairs 3-4 times.
Make it hard.
You guys have put in the work.
You got to deal with those triggers, though.
Oh, yeah.
Just want to say that, deal with those triggers.
You have to. And I don't think I would have been able to deal with mine directly without building a relationship with God at the same time. Because what do you do with them? You know,
Where do you put them?
Where do you put them? You know, like, okay, I know this now, but what's next?
And then what do you do when you've gone 3, 4, 5 years mastering that trigger, and then something happens, that same thing that triggers you, and you go back to your old ways. Then you step back and you're like, well, am I changing? Did I not grow? So you start computing all this, which takes you back into a cascade of chaos.
Grace. Because when you know the word, you know, like, okay, I messed up today, but I know God knows our hearts. He knows that was going to happen. You know what I mean? And he forgave me for that, but I have to learn from this. It's a continuous thing. It's growing and learning every day. Because nobody's going to wake up, go to church, read the Bible, and be like, oh, I'm just like Jesus. Like, Jesus knows we're not going to be just like Jesus. That's why he died for our sins,
That's
you know?
why he did it.
But don't go out here willy-nilly and just doing stuff because you know, oh, Jesus already died for it. Like,
don't do it from a place of I know I'm be forgiven for this, so let me go ahead.
Exactly.
That's not what we're doing.
No.
But I just, it's unfortunate that the world views God in such a niche box. It's unfortunate because those who don't know are really missing out.
Really missing out. And I pray for them.
Yeah.
I always pray. When people, I'm like, hey, you know, let's do this, come to church, God said this, and they looking at me like, yeah, maybe next time. And I'm just like, when I pray that they have an experience, that they encounter God for themselves. Because at first, I was like, yo, let's go to church. And you just started going to church, so everybody looking at you like, when you started going to church.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I had to learn that when you do the things that God calls you to do, when you're kind, you're showing grace, you're forgiving yourself, you're patient, people can see that. They feel it. And it's just like, what's up with you, Jesus? You know, it wasn't nobody but God, baby. Because I'm telling you now, it was not me. And that's all God requires of us. Do my good works. And that's when people see, oh, you have this radio station. You just seem so happy. You have a nice car. Your nails are always done. Those simple things that people think don't count, that attracts people to you. But it's our job to redirect them to the Creator. Like, this is who gave this to me. Because, baby, I have nothing. Okay? This does not belong to me.
So, I'm just a vessel.
Just a vessel.
Yeah.
Just a vessel. Because I'm telling you, I used to be like, come to church, everybody. It's just like, girl, no.
Yes.
But eventually, they came.
They start to come. It takes time.
Absolutely.
Everything takes time.
And you have to think about it. I wasn't even going. I wasn't even here. You know what I mean?
I was in the bed Sunday morning, eating whatever on the YouTube.
That was the sleep in day, Sunday.
And as soon as it was over, I put my phone down or close the laptop, go right back to sleep. Like, people do create their own parallel, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that's your journey, if that's but those opportunities when you it's almost what you call supernatural. Yeah. In a sense, when you have those. Look at it for what it is.
Yeah.
And dive into it. And some people have got it to Christ without even realizing it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I just hope people take heed to that.
I hope they do.
And step into it, even if you don't understand it.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like it.
For everybody. I'm
just
like,
see.
Just God, just tell them a little bit, show them a little miracle or something so they can, you know what I'm saying, so they can know what's going on. Because when I went back to church, nothing was wrong in my life, but I just felt incomplete. Like, it was something is missing. Like, that's all I kept saying. I'm like waking up every day like, something is missing. Like, what's missing? And I was like, I need to go back to church. And when I went that first day, he talked about the exact reason I stopped going to church. And I'm like,
I hear you, Lord.
No, that's not what I said. I said this is a coincidence. I thought it was, I was
is
like,
how it starts off. Like,
this is ironic. You know what I mean? Like,
fancy?
Whatever. I'll come back. Exactly. I was like, I'll come back next Sunday. And then he did it again. And I was like, I'm going to come back one more time.
That third time is that charm.
Yes, and I was like, okay, I hear you, Lord. This is very serious. Let me read my Bible every morning. But it takes time. Did you have any like negative feedback once you started back going to church and rebuilding your relationship with God from people who didn't understand?
I did not have negative feedback from the whole you going to church thing. No, I didn't have negative feedback. I have negative feedback for me being different. I've changed.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that people don't take into consideration is I hope you change.
Yes.
To change, it's just like milk expires. Like at some point, you should be more mature.
Yes.
More, you know what I mean? So change is inevitable. You should evolve all the time. But I think it's the hold on, let me back up. I've had positive of how I've changed, but from a negative standpoint, it is that you're different. You know, or man, you don't kick with us as much, or you don't. And let me just say, I love a good turn up. So it's not that. It's just I may be going to Bible study that night.
Yeah.
I might. You know what I'm saying? I may be reading the Bible that night. You know what I'm saying? So it has been incorporated into my life. And so that can look as though I've changed how I move in a dynamic. So it's like, man, what's up with you? You're not different in a rude way, but just not Amberlynn.
We're not
it's
used
like,
to this.
I'm on my spiritual journey.
Yeah.
I still have fun. Like, you know, I still do me. But because God is a part of my schedule now, things that are not more important.
They just aren't more
they
important.
just aren't more. I mean, I get back to that, but I gotta go holler at my boy. You know what I mean? And that's where the more so, you know, yo, you're just a little, you know, things a little different now. What's up with you? And then even when I had a conversation, it's respected. It's like, oh,
yeah, that's good.
Okay, girl. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, but again, it comes from the communication piece.
Yes.
There are some people that probably I may feel a ways that have not said, yeah, what's going on with you? So because of that lack of communication, I can't really speak on that. So, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah.
Yeah.
Either way,
it's a transition for real, because it's like when I first started going to church, I had disappeared. People see me like, I ain't see you like 3 months. Like, hey man, trying to get, because when you get into it, oh, the enemy on you bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's real spiritual warfare. And while I was going through that, I couldn't be out. I couldn't be on social media. I couldn't pod. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't do that because I wasn't going to be able to do it right. And I was learning. When I say it was like puberty all over again. It was so awkward.
The spiritual puberty growth.
Yes, girl. It was so awkward. And I'm just like, am I losing my mind? You know, and I didn't have the capacity, because I definitely, when my mind is not right, I don't want to pour that over on anybody else. And I don't want to come around nobody like quiet or acting awkward or confused, because I'm trying to work this thing out with God right now, and I'm be back. But let me do this first, because I see what it's doing in my life, and I want to get it right, and I want to understand. And then also that's that phase of like how we can talk about this now. If you don't take that moment and just really learn what's going on and get an understanding for yourself, you really can't tell anyone else.
Right.
And you don't want to be too premature and say the wrong thing. Yeah. So for me, it was like, hold on, y'all.
But see, the difference though, my career is social media gathering. So I couldn't do the step back from society.
And some people can't. And it hurt me. Because that's your calling. God anointed you to be able to still do this and do this.
Girl,
I can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
That I had to stand behind a mic and project that I was okay, and I'm just like warfare.
Yeah.
On the inside, like I remember I'm like, Lord, are you positive?
Yeah.
That's what you want me to do?
Right.
But like you said, when it's your ministry.
Yes.
And I think it's a beautiful thing that when Carla Ferg pulled back up, it was like, okay, here I go. I heard somebody was looking for me. You know what I'm saying? But it's so beautiful. Like, your growth, honey, is everything. And it is not, don't hear me wrong, it is not that you were in error or wrong or anything of that nature. You were just very focused on your grind and making a footprint for DJ Ferg. And I'll forever respect that. Me and you connected on business from the beginning. But you are now in the footsteps of Carla, which makes that a whole different setup of what God has in store for you. And so just to see how you, like, you have a glow. You know what I mean? You have a beautiful aura, and you have this beautiful spirit that encompasses when somebody comes in contact with you. That's what I'm saying I'm proud of. Like, what I saw in you that you didn't even see yet. That's where you are now.
I feel like this is the me that you were talking about when you were mentoring me. This is the me. I'm finna cry.
I'm sorry. And I've never told anybody that I was your mentor because it wasn't necessary. But what I'm saying is just that's where I'm coming from.
That was the me.
Girl,
like,
you about to make me cry.
I know. I'm like, wait, I never cried on an episode. Hold on. Because like that's why when I remember that time when I moved and I called you and I told you and I was like, cause you understand. And I feel like this is the me that you kept telling me about. Like that you was like, I see this in you and I see that in you. You know, people say that all the time. People say that, but some people say it because it's the kind thing to say. Or some people say it because that's really how they feel. But me at that time, I didn't see it. Because like you said, I wanted to be the biggest DJ for this brand. You know, this brand. I'm a mom, I'm a brand, I'm a mom, I'm a brand. And that was it. And there was no God in it. And now that God is the foundation of it, it's like, it's so much easier. It's so much easier. And people,
you are more than just a DJ and a mom.
Yes. And that's what I had to because you really limit yourself. Like when you don't let God operate through you at full capacity, boy, I was missing so many. You know, I missed out on so much. And now that I'm here, it's just like, oh, that's cool. I like it over here. And I can feel your growth too. Even though you've always been kind and, you know, compassionate, but you can still, like, there's like a new gentleness about you. Like, you're just like, you know, it's just like, that's the best way I can explain it because you've always been Bambie. You always been yourself. You always been kind. But it's just like, it's like your smile different. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I used to be guarded. And that's why it came across, not intense, but like,
just standing on business.
Yeah. And that was a barrier to protect me because I had been so battered and bruised and misused and mistreated. Like, girl, I could make a song about it. Like, it had been so bad. And I mean this from friendships, work, you know, life, just everything. And so I knew that in order to do what I needed to do with Nspire U, I had to protect me and my feelings.
Yeah.
And that's what that was. But with God and therapy, I can woo saw. Shout out the wooisms. I can woo saw because it's like I do feel happier, lighter, better. I feel like, you know how they say my breakthrough is coming and like there's always like sunshine after the rain. Like I feel like the sun is shining. Yeah. And like so beautiful. The door is opening for me to walk out. Like but before I hadn't even walked through the rain yet. So that I guess because I see and feel what God has taken me through and where I am now, you know, for me and my mom to be sitting there, like I had a career 17 years walking the office and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, thank you for everything you did, but we don't need your services anymore. I'm sorry. I thought this was a promotions meeting. Okay, that went left fast. Right. Okay, 17 years, and they give you an hour to get all your stuff out of the building. You know what I mean? That can shake the foundation, especially somebody that's young and that's all they knew, right? Yeah. And I have a pre-med degree, so I actually was in college for pre-med, but when I graduated, I had to know somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody to be able to get into the internships. But that's neither here nor there because that wasn't my destiny. Yeah. It was what I wanted. So God said, okay, I'm going to preserve you over here in college to get your degree, you know, do your biology thing. But I got this over here cooking for you. Yeah. As I was in college, I was working for a company and I worked my way up. I started as a part-time tech, worked up to a sales assistant, was assisting in production, engineering, on air, every department, business, traffic, got familiar with it. So the day they told me I could go, I didn't see that God had already planted in me, right? And so I was so confused. I was so upset. I was so broken. Like, I can't believe they did this to me. Yeah. I trained pretty much everybody that got hired up. You know, I had this rage, this hurt, I was mad at everybody about everything. Yeah. And my mom let me do that for like a day or two. Yeah. I call it 5 minutes of feelings. But that third day, like they say, he rose. That third day, she was like, okay, so when you gonna start your radio station? And I was like, what? Yeah. And she was like, when you go, like she those were her exact words. When are you going to start your radio station? She had never mentioned that to me before. And I'm like, Mom, I got to figure out this 401k. I got the, hold on, girl. Who hired? Let me go on Indeed.com. Nothing against Indeed. I'm just saying. That's where my mind was. And she said, no, ma'am. I'm going to give you a few more days. And we're going to get this train rolling. Now, keep in mind, she's building her vision with Nspire U on the marketing end. And that's what she had been doing. But because I was working for another company, I could not be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like, you know what I'm saying? I'm full-time over here. She's got this over here. And in some senses, it was a conflict of interest to an extent. You know what I mean? But but God. So when this happened, she's just like, yeah, so we're going to do this with Nspireu over here. And you are going to do this with Nspireu on air. I'm like, me? Okay, Mom. So because of where I was mentally, right? Because of how I felt internally, I did not see Nspireu on air. I did not see where Nspireu is today. I saw these folks that did me wrong.
Yeah.
And I feel some type of way. I can't believe that's what I saw. I saw, like they say, you couldn't see the trees due to the forest. I saw the forest. I did not see the trees.
Yeah.
And so sitting in my mama's living room, Indian style, creating a radio station along with our dynamic engineer who built the station from the ground up. And then our phenomenal app builder who built the app from scratch. That is not a template.
Oh, wow.
That is not a template. Princess Miller, shout out to you, girl. She created, we told her what we wanted and she created the app. God put all those people in our paths.
Yes.
Our engineer, he's very, cool, feng shui. I won't say your name, but I appreciate you. Thank you. But with them, we created Nspireu on Air. On the floor, Indian style.
Wow.
And I did not see on the floor Indian style putting some music on a log to run through an app. I did not see what it is today with a staff, with a office, with a following, with a global connection.
Yes.
Like, I didn't see that. So I'm sharing all that to say all this is here in 2024. But in 2019, I was broken, confused, lost, hurt, all these different things. But God had already set this. I couldn't see it. I didn't know it. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I'm sitting up here like, I guess I got to go back to medical school, which that's still not, a bad idea. But I guess I got to go back to medical school and try to get a job over here to go to school. I wasn't even thinking God got an empire down the road for me. And so I just want to share that story of encouragement because you might be in a storm right now. Your breakthrough might not be for another 10 years. But when it comes, it's so powerful into the magnitude that I never thought I don't have to have somebody tell me that my idea is stupid in an email. I don't have somebody who's making 3 times what I make and I'm doing 5 times the work. Because of how I look, I get paid less. I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
I don't have to deal with coming to work super early and staying super late because nobody was there to help. Like it's so many things that God fixed. What kind of person would I be if I didn't do what he asked of me? And he gave it. I didn't even, honestly, I'm not saying I didn't ask for it, but I didn't go to God and say, I want my own radio station. But he knew my destiny to get me to see. That's why you went through what you went through. God did this for me, and I was blind. I didn't see it. So people beat themselves up and think that God won't help me. He won't preserve me. He won't forgive me this time. He won't look out for me. Every time you trust him.
Every time.
He knows your heart.
Yep.
He know you're going to get mad sometimes. He know you're going to get confused with what happens sometimes. But if you just trust him and let him lead you.
Yes.
He will take away things and it might hurt. He will take away people.
Yes.
It's going to hurt. But when it's removed and you get to that space of healing, you see it for what it is.
Yeah. Because in that gap, that's the opportunity for you to depend on God. A lot of people miss that gap. Like how you said, I went and got on Indeed. Had you got a job, you would have still been depending on Amberly. You wouldn't have let God intervene and do and create this.
I would have been making it hard.
Making it hard. Because that's what we do, And when the opportunity comes, because it's really, we think it's like down in our luck, but it's an opportunity for God to show you what he can do. Okay, now let me show you what I can do for you if you let me. You know what I mean? And had you not, you would missed out on your ministry, your people, your team, you know what I'm saying, your family, all the people you've impacted as a host, you know what I'm saying, as going on the news, like,
Girl,
just grateful. Day to day, like when people see you out, like, hey, I know you know what I'm saying, like you would have missed out on that had you not let God fill in that gap, and it's scary. Because we went to college, we went to work, like this is what they told us to do.
This is what they said.
But nobody told you to do. You got to know what God said to do. That's the difference, and it's It's bigger.
It is. It's bigger, but again, it goes back to, if I had not gone through what I went through with the prior company, I would not be able to be the owner. I would not be prepared to be the manager. So tying back to when you were like, how do y'all do it? We healed from what hurt us to be able to nurture the next person. So you mentioned earlier, when you step back from everything to begin your journey with God. And what kind of person would I have been if I would have said, well, you're not doing XYZ the way you agreed to do it.
Yeah.
And you had to try to have that conversation with me, and I would have blocked that. Or what if I would have been that one factor that prevented you from your dream? Because I'm making it hard for you because you can't go to Bible study this night because Bambie said what my mix is. How does that help you? And so I tie that back into, people have to be careful of not being considerate of what people have going on. And, a lot of people say the highest form of love is understanding and communication. I don't agree with that. I personally think consideration is the highest form of love. Because if I love you, I'm going to consider things before I make a determination. Now, if I don't know you and I ain't rocking with you, but, God has this thing where we have to love everybody. Yeah. Working on that.
Right.
But seriously, you have to have consideration for people. And if Ferg is going through something and Ferg says, hey, Bambie, I know I'm supposed to do this, but I got this going on, whether you explain it or not, what kind of person would I be if I say, well, I understand you going through all that, but we have a deadline. How does that help you?
Right.
And so to people who are so quick to want things to be their way, or they're not as considerate as the next person, be careful with that.
Yeah.
Because again, that could be a trigger to somebody's journey of trying to stay whole. It doesn't cost anything to be kind.
Nothing at all.
It doesn't cost anything to take accountability. It doesn't take anything. It doesn't cost a dime to be a good person. And good people have bad days.
Absolutely.
And if you don't forgive people, you're going to turn into a bad person.
Yes.
And you just got to be careful. But if you are considerate, I think that would allow a lot of things to happen much differently for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In every aspect, in any way possible you can think about it, for real. Because consideration, let's just consider the fact that, you know what I'm saying?
Just consider it. You go to a restaurant and somebody's having a bad day. The server might be having a bad day. Well, what doesn't help is if you get an attitude with the server. One, they fooling with your food. But two, you don't know what they endured before they came. You know what I mean? And you don't know what they have to go home to.
Yep.
I don't know if you ever saw the poem, and I don't remember it off the top, but it's called I Ain't Got a Pencil. And it's written by a little kid, and it's something like, I woke up this morning, my mom was fussing, wasn't no food for my siblings, we missed the bus, something, and then I got to school, and I got sent to the principal's office, all because I ain't got a pencil. And you have to be careful of how you react to people that you don't live with.
Yeah.
Because you don't know
what's going on.
If they are bitter and broken, let them be bitter and broken, but don't let them make you bitter and broken. But if they're bitter and broken, have you tried to find out why?
Yeah.
Like, have you, hey, yo, you good? Yo, if I said something, I apologize.
Right.
Like, I find myself doing that because I am not perfect. And if I'm thinking of a million things, or if I'm going through a million things, it might come across quick, snappy, or it could be rude. I mean, any of those things are possible. But if you personally haven't done something to a person, just be careful of that. Because people out here struggling, for real.
Baby, times are hard for everybody. And even if it's not financial, it may be mentally, it may be spiritually. In so many ways, people are truly struggling. My mom always taught us, be nice to everybody because you don't know what somebody's going through. Since we were kids, my mama always taught us that. And as a kid, you think you taught to just be nice, be kind. But as an adult, be nice to everybody because you really don't know what people are going through.
That's how people snap.
And people confuse kindness and being nice, because being nice and being kind is different. You can be kind, believe it or not, without being nice. Sometimes nice is being a pushover or letting people get over, but you can kindly say, I understand that you're going through that, but that's not going to work for me. That's kind. I'm respecting what you're saying. I'm considering what you're going through, but I also have a boundary for myself.
Yes.
But I'm not disregarding you. I'm not disrespecting you. Being nice is like, oh, okay, gonna let you walk all over me today. So people think you don't really have to be nice and kind. They're two different things. But being kind, it goes so far. Because it could be that one thing for that one person. Like, she was so... People will remember you forever for being kind to them that one time.
They will.
One time.
They will. And I think that when people fear who they really are, that makes them... It makes it difficult for them to be authentic.
Yeah.
So if you know that you are insecure, like mentally, you know you really truly are insecure, I think they overdo things to try to compensate instead of finding ways to cope with their insecurities. And I'm just using that for an example. But I think that when people get tied up with trying to prove points or trying to make a scene or I don't really know what this whole I got to prove my point to people thing is that's going on now.
Yeah.
But when people get tied up in that, they lose their authenticity, right? So it's really hard to be Carla Ferd that God ordained Carla Ferd to be, which is a dope DJ, a phenomenal mom, bomb speaker, because, baby, you're doing your thing on this podcast. I remember you were like, I don't even know what to say.
What? Man, the scroll. See, you were there.
You've turned into, you're professional, you're motivationally speaking, you are changing people's perspectives, you are bringing people closer to Christ. Like, if you were trying to fight that, imagine how much chaos would be in your life.
It was chaotic.
Exactly. When you try to fight who you really are, that's where the problem is.
Yes, you're not mean. You're actually very, very nice. Like, it's okay. Like, you're not your trauma. You're not your past. You don't have to be this. You don't have to be that. And getting that is just like, okay. Like, it's lighter and it's easier because you're doing what you're called to do. So it's like, it flows.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not so much, I gotta fight for my spot. You're gonna know me. And it's just like, actually, you don't have to know me. God knows me. So, it's just like, it's cool. And God gonna put you in front of everybody.
Wherever you supposed to be.
You're not gonna miss the opportunity.
You literally, like, some of the bookings that I get, I'm like, who gave you my number?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's God has already put it together for you, baby. All you got to do is walk in, sit down at the table that he prepared for you.
And be quiet.
You got to be
quiet.
Know what you want to eat in the kitchen. They know that Bambie wants that Parmesan crusted medium steak. They know she want that loaded baked potato, no bacon. They know that. I don't even have to order it. That's how good God is. He already told them this what she want. She wanted just like this temp. So why mess it up? Because instead of you sitting down at the steak restaurant that God told you to, you go through the drive-thru because you don't feel like putting on no clothes. You got to be careful.
Man, that's a simple analogy, but y'all don't understand how hard it hit, though. Because you're hearing, this is a phenomenal businesswoman. Like, phenomenal, killing it. This is not a microwave testimony. This did not happen overnight. Like, you literally had to go 17 years of working for someone else, building the knowledge, though, for your empire that God called for you and your mom to handle, you know what I'm saying, to help all these people. But you didn't know that then.
I didn't.
But had you not been disciplined, had they made you mad one time and you quit and you had only been working there for a year, it would have took you 20 years to get inspired. You off the, you know what I'm saying?
And I didn't see that at first.
And that's you didn't go through the drive-thru.
I went through the drive-thru for 17 years. When all I had to do was put some clothes on
and go inside the restaurant
and go in the steakhouse.
But that was so necessary because had you not, though, you had all of the knowledge, the tools, the equipment, the experience. People don't understand about being in that field with those sheep. And when you get called to be the king, baby, you ready because you've been out here. Like, you know what I'm saying? And for a company to have you put in so much work for 17 years and let you go, they overlooked you because you were outside with the sheep. But they didn't know what the calling was.
At the time, how they felt. It's like, I felt like David Ruffin. I'm the one made y'all.
Right.
What y'all ain't done with that.
Right.
That was me. That was me irate. That was me. That was me being the Amberly I wanted to be.
Yes.
When God had a whole. He had it all planned out, and I just needed to step back and let him do his thing. And in 2024, I am sitting here like, I'm so glad them folks fired me that day. Like,
But God.
thank you.
Right. No, literally, God is so good. Whew.
Yeah.
God is so good.
God is phenomenal.
I just can't, like, that's all I can say. God is so good, because we can go on and on about how good God is, like, because he's just so good.
He's
like,
just good.
Just for you to know, like, you already knew I needed to know all of this information, and it hurt me when they fired me, but you were really setting me free.
Yeah.
Getting me ready to do my own thing.
And I've also realized he took me through things in levels. Like the once Nspire U was together, like you said, the devil likes to try to attack. First it's your health. They try to go that way. And then shout out to God steering me in the direction of another doctor to change some things for me. And now I'm the healthiest I've ever been.
Praise
but I was going to
God.
the same doctor since I was like 18, and she's like, oh, there's just a few things we need to wait on. And this new doctor was like, nah, baby, you ain't got no time.
Yeah.
Changed my life. And then, of course, it'll attack your friendships. And then it trickles, right?
Yes.
But the compartments that it happened in, it's like it happened right on time for whatever God had set up for the next thing. So I'm not gonna sit here and say it was just a cakewalk.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? A lot of heartache, a lot of disappointments, a lot of confusion, and there's still growth, because again, daily you should be growing.
Absolutely.
The inevitable is changing, so things are going to continue to happen. But the strength and endurance that I have spiritually is what guides me physically and mentally. Your mental is important.
So important.
Your mental is important.
Absolutely.
You ever just sat there and somebody half said, hey, and then they're like way thrown off?
Yeah.
Everything is compartmentalized. And so God put me in different facets to heal in different circumstances. So when that circumstance happened again within my journey, I was able to get through it.
Right.
So with that, it's like, I just need to let him drive.
That's it.
And I ride. Buckle up. Let's go.
Put your seatbelt on. You're good. You're safe. This was good. We're going to have a part 2 for sure.
I'll come back, girl. Ew.
Yeah, this was fun. Anything you want to leave anyone with?
The only thing I want to say is, no matter what you do, be the best at it. And you be okay with what it is. Because as long as you're okay with it, that's all that matters.
We love it. We love it.
And download the app, Nspire U on air.
Nspire U on air. Tell them your socials.
Okay, so you can follow us on Nspire U, Nspire, the letter U, on Facebook, our website, Nspireu.org, Nspire, the letter U.org. And then you can also download our free app anywhere in the world, Google or Apple Play Store, Nspire U on air. We're global. You can listen in to myself, Diva's Den, DJ Ferg, Seafood Gumbo. It goes down, and we have so many others. Y'all download the app.
All right, y'all. We'll catch y'all on the station because you downloaded it, right? We'll put the link below. Right. And thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
This is amazing. I love you, girl. I love you more. All right.
Y'all.
We'll see y'all next time.